Match number 9 of CPL 2020 shall feature the Barbados Tridents against the Trinbago Kinght Riders. Let's build our fantasy team then on my 11 Circle Fantasy Pick on ESPNcricinfo. I'm Ronak Kapoor and I'll be joined by Daren Ganga. Right, the Trinbago Kinght Riders have had a great start to CPL 2020, the only team to have won both games so far, and they're up against the Tridents. Our pro tip is very interesting. I wonder what Daren makes of it. And what we're suggesting here in our pro tip is that when it comes to the day games in CPL, make sure you keep an eye on the weather. If it rains, form your team in such a way that most of the action that your team members have would be from players that would participate actively in the first innings. You do not want to have your bowlers delivering just 2 overs or in having reduced spells in a shortened game. Similarly, you wouldn't want your middle order batsmen in the second innings you won't have too many of them in the second innings, given there could be a truncated game. We don't really look at rain when it comes to cricket conventionally, Daren, but in fantasy at times, it's not the worst pro tip, is it?
It is an excellent tip, and I was going to make this point before you started to suggest your picks, and that is because of the inclemency of the weather that we've faced so far. I just wanted to also add that even in how batsmen go about scoring runs, you can't allow the middle orders to be too much of a lull if you're batting first. This is another 10 a.m. game, and Jason Holder, out of all the captains, will know exactly this, because in the last game against the Zooks, he failed to take into consideration the rain. He opted, obviously, to bat first, and the Zooks got the better of him. So that's an important thing that captains will be thinking about at the toss, the weather, and if it will impact the game at all.
All right, brilliant. Let's move to our team then. Before that, quick reminder, on the My 11 Circle Fantasy app, you've got 100 credits as a user to build your fantasy team. 4 categories of players to pick from: wicketkeepers, batsmen, bowlers, and all-rounders. You can pick a maximum of 7 players from one team in any given contest. And of course, every player's individual credit value is listed right there on the app. As we move to our top pick recommendations, and you could say arguably 2 of the best T20 spinners in the world, or the 2 best T20 spinners in the world, are our captain and vice-captain picks. We've gone for Sunil Narine as captain and Rashid Khan as vice-captain. That's the hierarchy for this one that we've gone with. And how can you ignore Sunil Narine, given the 250s that he's got as an opener in the 2 games, and both times taking back-to-back Player of the Match awards. So please do not look beyond Sunil Narine. We certainly can't. Rashid Khan is vice-captain, 2 wickets in the Tridents opening game, and then the 2 overs he bowled in the rain-curtailed game against the Zooks, he managed to take a couple more. So you think both these players would have a significant impact. Narine, of course, would pip someone like Rashid, given that he would give you genuine all-round option points. Captains give you double the points and vice-captain 1.5 times, so pick them really carefully. Dwayne Bravo and Karen Pollard, 2 solid West Indian legends in the T20 format, are part of our topics as well. Bravo, as a death bowler, has always had the ability to get you some points, and you could also have Bravo's handy lower order runs coming in at some point sooner rather than later. He might just get his 500th, I repeat that, 500th T20 wicket in this game. My earplugs are nearly falling off just saying that number, and that's why you should think Dwayne Bravo will be pumped ahead of this one. And alongside Bravo, Karen Pollard is also among our top pick recommendations. He's an occasion-based player. He likes the big stage, likes the attention and the limelight. When he comes up against his former team, do back someone like Karen Pollard to have an extra bit of motivation. Colin Munro sneaks in as well in our top picks. He's a man who simply loves batting in the CPL, the Kiwi top order batsman, and he's shown in the past seasons as well. He has been an anchor for the Kinght Riders for quite a few seasons. Sluggish performance in the opening game, but his unbeaten 49 in their second game shows that he is finding his timing just about now. Quick recap: Captain Sunil Narine, Vice-Captain Rashid Khan, and Dwayne Bravo, Karen Pollard, and Colin Munro among our top picks. Daren Ganga, thoughts?
Look, let me share this with you. Yes, you've named some really top-class T20 cricketers in that list of players, but one thing to know in terms of trends, Sunil Narine usually tapers off in his performances as a tournament progresses. So you may have that influence you and your decision. Dwayne Bravo, you mentioned he has the incentive of getting to 500 wickets. Karen Pollard doesn't really look that fluent. I watched him in that last innings. He remained unbeaten, didn't have a lot to do. Colin Munro was scoring majority of the runs. I think that he still needs a little more game time, a little more time out in the middle for him to get as fluent. It's only early days. All teams will have the chance to play 10 matches. Pollard, I see him getting a lot better and contributing more to the latter part of the tournament. But I will always have him on my team because he can bring a lot of value, whether it's in the field, whether it's with the ball. He hasn't bowled as yet. He's a 3D sort of player. So I will agree with your picks, Ronak.
All right, let's move to some value picks then, players that you might get on decent credit value that could squeeze into your team. And Johnson Charles features. Now, it's always worth taking a punt on someone like Johnson Charles because he opens the batting for the Tridents. He didn't have a great first game, but that quickfire 35 filled with shots against the Zooks was something to go by, which tells you that if he does get on his day, he might get you a fair number of points. So Johnson Charles also safe in the field, can nick the odd points in the field too. So we've recommended him in our value picks. Mitchell Santner, with the sort of impact that he's had early on in CPL 2020, pitches are expected to only get slower, and Santner's value therefore would become even more attractive. He is an all-rounder. They tend to always fetch you more points in fantasy, and Santner started CPL 2020 pretty well. So Johnson Charles and Mitchell Santner among our value picks. If you look at our full 11, Shai Hope and Johnson Charles as keeper options, Lendl Simmons and Colin Munro as outright batsmen, Sunil Narayan, Kyron Pollard, Jason Holder, Dwayne Bravo, Mitchell Santner, a wealth of all-rounders. Narayan, of course, is our captain choice, and our bowlers include Rashid Khan, who's our vice-captain recommendation, and Fawad Ahmed, another leg spinner in there as well. That's a team you'll get within 100 credits. Daren Ganga, any more options you'd like to throw in?
Well, I'd like to put 2 question marks by Lendl Simmons, Shai Hope. I think they're 1 innings away from showing their best and getting into form. Maybe later in the tournament, they will bring a lot of value to you in terms of your picks. What I wanted to share with you is the fact that Tim Seifert, in the little time that we've seen him, he looks very eager. He's a quality player, only 25 years of age, from New Zealand. This is a guy you can probably use in your team and get good result. The other player that I think you would want to consider for this squad is Jaden Seals. This is a young fast bowler, and you can see that the TKR, they've invested in him. He gets the opportunity to open the bowling for the Knight Riders, and he comes back and he bowls in the death overs. So clearly, there is a grooming that is happening, and I think this young man will perform for you if you include him in your fantasy team.
Right, Indian fans need no recollection of someone like Tim Seifert, who does have his highest T20 international score against India. So excellent suggestion there by Daren Ganga. Keep Seifert in your calculations, and plenty more from Daren coming up as CPL 2020 moves on My 11 Circle Fantasy Pick on ESPNcricinfo.